On my charity gala night, the event I poured my heart and savings into organizing for orphaned children, my entitled goddaughter, Selena, and her circle of socialite friends mocked my partner right in the middle of my keynote speech. They called him a low-class charity case himself, interrupting with snide comments and whipping out their phones to record the ridicule for their online followers. The ballroom, filled with 300 donors and dignitaries, fell into stunned silence as laughter rippled from their table. My world shattered in that moment, but fury rose within me like a tidal wave. I stopped my speech, pointed at them, and publicly expelled every last one of them from the gala. It was only then, in the aftermath of the chaos, that my partner pulled me into a quiet corner, his eyes steady and kind, and whispered words that turned my life upside down. "My dear Patricia, I'm a billionaire philanthropist, but let me take you back to how we arrived at this pivotal moment, because what happened next was something no one could have foreseen. Welcome to my story, a tale of betrayal, hidden truths, redemption, and the true meaning of family. If you're here, I hope you'll stay till the end. There might be lessons in it for all of us. My name is Patricia, or Pat to my close friends, and at 57 years old, I stood in the grand ballroom of the city's most elegant hotel, surrounded by crystal chandeliers, elegant table settings, and towering floral arrangements in shades of gold and white. I'd spent months planning this gala for the orphanage where I'd volunteered for decades, dipping into my life savings as an event planner to make it flawless. After losing my husband to a sudden heart attack 25 years ago, I'd thrown myself into work and raising my goddaughter Selena. And now, after years of loneliness, I'd found love again with George, a humble man with a warm smile and weathered hands. He volunteered at soup kitchens, drove a modest sedan, and lived in a small bungalow on the outskirts of town. He wasn't flashy, but he made me feel seen and valued. That was enough for me. The evening had started perfectly. Cocktails, silent auctions, heartfelt testimonials from the children we'd helped. I took the stage for my keynote, microphone in hand, speaking passionately about the cause. Tonight, we're not just raising funds. We're building futures for those who've lost so much. That's when the first snicker cut through the air. It came from the VIP table I'd reserved for Selena and her friends. Selena was 29, a stunning young woman I'd raised as my own after her parents. My best friend and her husband died in a plane crash when she was just 4. I'd sacrificed everything, my social life, vacations, even my own dreams of starting a family, to give her the best. Private tutors, elite colleges, seed money for her lifestyle brand. I'd funded it all, working overtime and skipping my own luxuries. But success had turned her entitled. She chased influencers, sponsorships, and a glamorous life, rarely calling unless she needed something. "Did you hear that?" Selena whispered loudly, her voice carrying over the speakers. "Aunt Pat's talking about building futures, but look at her date a low-class bum who looks like he needs charity himself." Her friends, a group of 5 or 6 equally polished socialites in designer gowns and heavy makeup, burst into giggles. One pulled out her phone. "This is prime content gala goals. When your godmom dates trash." Another added, "Yeah, Selena, how do you let her embarrass the family like this? He's probably after her." Event planning scraps. Ballroom murmured uncomfortably. Donors shifted in their seats, some looking appalled. George, seated at my table near the stage, simply smiled faintly, as if unfazed by the venom. I froze for a second, my cheeks burning with humiliation. The spotlight felt like an interrogation lamp. "Selena, please," I said into the mic, my voice cracking. But she stood up, emboldened by the attention, her champagne flute in hand. She'd clearly been drinking. "Aunt Pat, come on this as an intervention. That guy's a total charity case. Look at his suit thrift store special. And those shoes? My chauffeur dresses better. Her clique roared with laughter, phones flashing as they recorded every moment. #family fail, one yelled. Auntie's settling for a nobody who's unfit for our circle. The room was now a mix of gasps and awkward silence. A few donors began whispering, and I saw pity in their eyes. My goddaughter, the girl I'd raised with love and endless sacrifices, was turning my proudest night into a public spectacle of mockery. Something deep inside me broke, not just my heart, but the chains of years of enabling her behavior. I set the mic down with a thud that echoed. You know what, Selena? My voice boomed, stronger than I'd ever heard it. You're absolutely right about one thing. This event, this family deserves better. Better than your shallow cruelty and entitlement. You and your so-called friends out. Now, security. The guards whom I'd hired for the event moved swiftly. Selena's face twisted in shock. What? Aunt Pat, you can't throw us out. We're family. I helped promote this on my Insta. Family doesn't humiliate each other for likes. I shot back, my hands trembling but my resolve ironclad. Her friends protested, one shouting, "This is going live, you'll be the villain online." As they were escorted out, Selena turned at the door, tears in her eyes but rage in her voice. You'll regret this when no one donates because of your trashy choice. The ballroom was silent, 300 eyes on me. Some guests applauded softly, my friend. Elena from the orphanage board even stood and cheered. But I felt exposed raw. Tears welled up as I stepped off the stage. George met me halfway, his arm around my shoulders. Pat, my love, let's step outside for a moment. In the quiet foyer, away from the crowd, he held my hands. There's something. I need to tell you something. I've kept hidden until now. My mind raced. What secret could possibly follow this nightmare? George, if this is bad news. He shook his head, his expression serene yet profound. I'm George Ellis, founder of the Ellis Foundation Network, one of the largest philanthropic organizations in the world. I have over $5 billion in assets, endowments, grants, global initiatives. But after corrupt associates nearly destroyed everything 8 years ago, following my wife's death from a long illness, I stepped back. I chose to live simply, anonymously, to find people who valued me for who I am, not what I have. The words hit me like a thunderbolt. Billions? This man who'd helped me set up bake sales for the orphanage, who mowed lawns for elderly neighbors, who never once mentioned wealth. It all flooded back. His quiet wisdom on fundraising, his old contacts who'd mysteriously donated anonymously, his travels he downplayed as volunteer trips, guests who'd wandered out overheard, and whispers spread. Elena rushed over. Pat, are you okay? This is incredible. I could barely breathe. Why reveal it now, after they humiliated you? George smiled sadly. Because I wanted you to see their true natures when they thought I was nothing, and I wanted you to defend us on your own terms. You did, and it's the bravest thing I've seen. We returned to the gala, and George took the stage briefly. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's disruption showed us the ugliness money can breed. But Pat's strength reminds, use why we give to lift others without judgment. Donations poured in, tripling our goal. But my mind was on Selena. Flashback to her childhood. At 4, she clung to me after the funeral, calling me Mommy Pat. I worked 2 jobs, event planning by day, waitressing nights to afford her ballet lessons, school trips, even a debutante ball. When she launched her empowerment brand at 22, I invested $50,000 from my savings, only for her to splurge on parties and ignore my calls. She'd borrow more, just $10,000 for a photo shoot, Aunt Pat, and repay with excuses. Her socialite life was a facade. Pyramid schemes disguised as networking events, fake endorsements, mounting debts she hid. In the days after, Selena's video exploded online, but it backfired spectacularly. Titled, "Gala Gone Wrong," calling out hypocrisy, it showed her mockery. But commenters rallied against her. Entitled brat humiliates her own godmom, disgusting. Sponsors dropped her. Her brand tanked. Investigations revealed her business, a pyramid scheme scamming young women with promises of wealth, raking in $700,000 fraudulently. Lawsuits hit. She was arrested for fraud and embezzlement. Her friends abandoned her, and she faced 2 years in prison. Prison changed her. Letters arrived. First defensive, then broken. "Aunt Pat, I was blind to how I hurt you. You gave me everything, and I threw it away for fake glamour. No asks for bail, just remorse." After release, she called, voice small. "Can we meet?" Not for money, for forgiveness. We did, at a quiet cafe. She looked different. No makeup, simple clothes, working at a shelter. "I volunteered in prison, reminded me of your work. I'm sorry, truly. If I'd known about George." "That's the point," I said. "Respect isn't about status." George joined us later. Wealth corrupted my world, 2 lost friends to greed. But Pat showed me real kindness. We forgave, slowly. Selena proved her change. Therapy, restitution to victims. Together, we co-founded a youth empowerment charity, teaching financial literacy to prevent schemes like hers. "Your expulsion saved me," she said at our first event. A year later, at a small family dinner, Selena hugged me. "Thank you for letting me fall, it taught me to rise." George and I traveled, expanded foundations for orphans worldwide. My life, once humble, now overflowed with purpose. If this story resonates, remember, true wealth is in the hearts we heal. Like, subscribe, and share your own Taylor's redemption awaits.